So, hello and welcome to the game analysis of the game Monarch 1.7 versus Deep Fritz 14. I had let them play the bogoindian defense, which arises after those moves, and especially the move a5. I wanted to see how Fritz is handling this. And now the move queen a4, which is of course the first mistake. Probably a3 followed by bishop e7 and queen c2, c5, knight here, knight there, e3, takes, and d5 is probably, yeah, this would probably be a little bit better for white, but yeah, it's a game. But this Monarch should have played this, but he played the move queen a4, pinning the d pawn, and now bishop takes, knight takes, and castling, followed by e4, and now the move d6. Also possible was the move d5, but then e5, knight here, queen here, knight takes, queen takes, takes, b3, rook, and something like this, and the position should be around equal. So d5 was also possible, but we have the move d6, and now the move rook g1, which is again not a good move, not a good plan here. Go for a kingside attack that early. Better was the move queen a3, and then maybe b6 to fianchetto the bishop, c5 to break in the center, and something like this. Knight back to d2, or some other move. g3 probably. But g3, then knight h6, followed by bishop f3, bishop here attacking the rook, takes, rook here, rook there, knight here, there, knight there, f5, takes, king here, knight here. So this is also better for black. Yeah, it's really hard to find a move. Probably knight back to d2 is the best, and here black is also better, but rook g1 is even worse. The mistake was already not queen to a5, but this is just bad, this idea. Attacking the queen again. The queen has to go back to b1. If queen c3, I think I had analyzed this before, then f5, takes, queen takes, bishop here, and now maybe I think this move I had analyzed, e takes f5, queen takes f5, but now rook g5 holds the game. Also king f1 holds the game. But it would be funny if white were able to castle, then it's a mate in one, knight here, checkmate. So this was probably I wanted to make bishop f5 later, bishop here. Now the move knight back to a6. If this remaneuvering plan, which is very instructive, putting the knight on f6. Here rook g2 was not good, castling was better, but also after this kind of continuation, black is much better here. So yeah, but we have the move rook g2, takes, and now the superb move a4. If b4, then this is just bad because of knight b3. Rook d1. I don't know, it's just losing a piece here. After knight takes, then bishop queen takes there, attacking the rook and the knight. But what happens if this? Then you have to move queen h1. Followed by rook takes f2 check. And king takes f2 maybe. Now queen h2 check. And the king is if takes here, then it's mate in 2. Or probably queen takes g2. What about no, queen takes g2 check. Mate in 7. King c1. Rook there, but also rook here is just easier to calculate. White has to give up the queen and then also loses the rook. After all that, loses the rook, and this is also just bad for white. So this is not quite possible. White loses everything, so b takes a4, knight f6 now, rook here, rook takes, and now we have a smooth tactic here. Rook takes here. Better was this, but this also loses due to just losing a pawn. And if you try and defend the pawn with rook g3, then b4, if you take it, then rook e5. And if you push your passed pawn, then knight here comes, knight here attacking the rook, and you lose the pawn anyway. And this is very bad now for the white team. But rook takes b7 is also bad, because now rook takes a3, rook takes here, threatening a mate in 2, but just g6. And now knight d3 threatened, so you have to take the knight. If you go, I don't know, if you go bishop to d1, for example, then knight d3 is coming, king f1, knight takes here, knight here. If you take the knight, then queen takes e4, threatening queen e1, checkmate. So the queen has to defend probably. And now rook a2, just deflecting the queen away from this square right there. And if queen here, then you just take it because the pawn is pinned. So yeah, this is a nice move, just a deflection tactic. If you take the rook, then queen here is mate, so you kind of lose again everything. So that's why rook takes c5 was played, but it's just over. Now black is up the exchange, doubling on the AFL, playing on both sides of the board. Here, if the queen moves, for example, to e2, or it doesn't really matter where it moves, it's gonna be lost anyway. Well, abbrechen. Maybe queen f1, but this is a mate in 1. Queen takes here, so the queen has to defend the knight, keep defending the knight. And now it's a mate in 10, rook a2, queen d1, you have to give up the queen. And now knight to b3, or what's the move? Knight to b3, rook takes d1, king takes d1, knight takes here, threatening the rook, but the king has to go away. If the rook goes here, then it's all over, because you lose the bishop with check. King c1, check, check, and mate. So this is nice, so you cannot do this. So bishop g2 was played, but now just taking the queen, and this is now all over. Rook here, and now it's a mate in 17, but even if it's not a mate in 17, if here, then this check comes, king has only one square, then queen f4 check, king g2, rook takes bishop, and now there is this threat right here, so you kind of have to play rook here, but then queen takes d2 and you had lost everything. And if you take the knight here, then it's gonna be a mate in 2 with queen takes, king here only move, and now you can decide how to mate him, either with g2 or h2, and it's gonna be checkmate. So that's why the Monarch resigned in this position. It was a very nice game by Deep Fritz. I quite like it. I quite like this maneuver, this knight maneuver here. Let's see if I can find it. This knight a6 to b8 to d7, and black can't do anything. And now to f6. This knight maneuver was just perfect. Just nicely calculated by Fritz. And then the play on both sides of the board with rook a2. Black is dominating everywhere on the board. Left, right, center. The Monarch gets it really bad. d6. Just desperation stuff here. The last couple of moves. And here, yeah. Yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time. By the way, the Monarch resigned after this move. See you next time. Ciao.